Okay, so while I'm waiting for you guys to vote on which color I should use, I decided to move on with the build and start putting some parts together. Like I mentioned before, I've already finished a little bit of sanding, a little bit of cleaning up. But I wanted to make sure I get some things done and out of the way. So it's a good idea to begin the assembly of the torso, which shouldn't be that big a deal to do. As I was cleaning, I was looking at the manual and looking at which parts it needs to be assembled and which ones it doesn't need to be assembled so I can paint it. The one thing I've come across is the fact that even though this is an older kit, it doesn't have some features that has been transcended over to the next generation of GM kits. It's kind of like the I think the beam rifle or the machine gun of this is identical to the one that was on the GM ground type version of this. But right now I can't recall what it was, so let's get this thing started. So get the next piece here, followed by this that goes right there. Come on, get in there. So that's taken care of. Then we have the joint, the shoulder joint. This is a really small GM kit based on scale. Well, it's actually nowhere near the dimension. I think it's a little smaller than the Type C. We'll put it side-by-side comparison when the time comes. For starters, this one does not have the shoulder parts where you can actually lift up and then it goes along with the kit. It's actually right in there, so I can't go up. So I don't know what the point is for this. This should have been an open space. So we'll put the front part in like this. You can pretty much tell that I guess maybe during the course of their designing of the GM and the various variations of it, they were trying to find their, they were trying to find the right design of the kit. There we go. So we got the yellowish trims. That nope, goes like that. I want it to go in nice and smooth because I want to pop it out later on if I have to do something with it. Especially this one. Let's see if it goes in and I can actually take it out. Yeah, it does feel like I can. So good. So that's taken care of. Now there's some stickers here that goes on this kit, which I will not do or put on. So I have this one here, which I have to put it like this, and then this goes right here. It's fairly simple, like that. This has to be sanded down soon. Then we have this part here. It sticks up like this. Well, be careful. I don't want to wedge that in so far, but there we go. I think that's how it is. And then we have these thruster parts here, which looks really nice. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, luckily I can pop them out. So that goes like that, because there's a trim part there. You see? And then finally we have the actual head, which comes in two colors. And we have this part that goes supposedly goes like that. And then this clear part, it goes over it like so. And then we have the head part. Goes in like that. And then you get your choice of 2 antennas in 2 different colors. Surprisingly, while I put this on, I have to admit that now that Bandai's now with their builder sets, with their own version of the aftermarket parts and things like that, they're now going to be selling, or manufacturing V-fins and antennas for mobile suits, I guess, that lost it or you need it. Alright, so while this is completed, so we'll put the head here, and then we'll put the backpack here, and that's pretty much it. So that completes the head and torso of the GM Striker. Let's move on to the next part. Okay, the next part of the build is the weapons, which is what's the next thing that it says here on the manual. We were talking about it a moment ago, especially the actual machine gun that the GM Striker uses, which reminds me of the weapons that was used in 8th MS team. But this one is different because I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think this was a two parts of the gun, plus the clip was another part under it. I'm not. You know what? Hang on a second. Ah, crap. I thought I had a kit with the ground type version of the GM that was used in 8th MS team, but it looks like I don't have that. I thought I did. I'm remembering a few kits that I must have sold during my last eBay sale, so I guess I must have sold it, or maybe in a place where I can't seem to find it. Alright, so let's put these on together and not waste everyone's time. Oops, that's wrong. It goes the other way. Come on, get in there. There we go. Goes like that, right? Yeah. Alright, so that machine gun is done. Next one is the shield. Actually, no, next one is the dual saber lance type thing. In which case I will need this. Then this little part will go here. And then this one goes here. Like so. And then we have this part. And that one goes here. And then the other one goes up here. And then the lance itself, not as big as what I thought it would be. But yeah, it's pretty big. Got these two here. And then I think this one goes over like so. There we go. And so you know this will do this, which is a cool little feature right there. Kind of like that. Alright, so that takes care of that. Next part is the shield. Now I did mention before about the Gundam parts, the builder parts as they call them. Here's one pack of builder parts here that I'll probably use for a future kit. But there are now, I think the last one, the latest one, comes with a better version of the shield, which I'm really digging this shield. I kind of like this. Let's see here. So we flip that over like that. Then we take this one first. I think we put it like this. And then put that there. And then you have these cool little spike type weaponry which can be pulled out in and out as in what I'm reading here. So we slide that in. So the shield will look like this, but these things can come out like that. So I guess you can jam them into the ground like that. And it could be like a, you know, something to pound a mobile suit. These I wouldn't call them spikes. I would call them spikes. Yeah, I guess you can call them spikes. But there's another term for it. And it'll come to me. But these remind me of, like, what was it? It has nothing to do with, nothing come closing to what I'm thinking. But does everybody remember the Ifrit from episode 5, which it had a lot of shuriken blades on it? This is what kind of reminded me of it, and I'm hoping that they make the Ifrit as a high grade. I can imagine there's a few people out there. I've seen some resin kits of that Ifrit, and I think there's an older Ifrit kit, but I'm gonna have to search for it. Well, anyway, this completes the weaponry. Let's move on to the next part of this build. So, so you guys understand, I just finished this arm build right here, and apparently I didn't realize that I forgot to turn on my camera. Doesn't that happen to anybody when you start recording and you start doing your thing all, you know, immediately, and you think you're recording, and by the time you're done you realize, shit, I lost a good 2 to 3 minutes of work. I just realized that while I was building this, and by the time I got to the hands, I messed up. So I'm gonna have to recap, and let's just visualize this. There are 2 parts inside here with a polycap for the shoulder, and then you have the shoulder armor, which is 3 parts. These 2 here, and then the flap here, which can go up and down like this. Now, you can't go wrong with the flap. You can't go wrong with the shoulder armor on which side it should go, because the actual effect, the extra armor effect, is on one side, while the other side has nothing. It's blank. So you know this is the left shoulder. For the rest of the arm, this part here, which I'll pop this out, it has 2 parts plus 1 part here that connects to the upper bicep, and then you have another lower part that connects right into the forearm itself, and that part has a hole that goes all the way through here, so you can actually add attachments. Now, as I was mentioning, as I was explaining it before, I was trying to figure out whether this could be painted and then put in, and then close these 2 together, but it turns out that I can't. It doesn't work that way. So it's going to probably be, this probably is going to be hand painted. And I've noticed that my hand painting does create another effect. That is like more of a, it can also double as a weathering effect, a extra texture layer effect. You guys all seen this. So on smaller details, hand painting should be good. On larger details, airbrushing. And as you can see here, I've noticed that this part needs to be sanded down. For those of you guys who are joining the program, I'm just doing a standard build until I finish, and then I'm going to do the painting. So I was going back to here to the hands. There's 2 sets of hands for close. There's 1 set of hands with the trigger finger, and then there's this open hand, which has this little ball joint there. And if you cover it with this and put this here, you have the old, you know, bending of the hands, like that. Kind of like that of the Type C, for those of you who remember the Type C. But as you can see, both of these arms are now done. They're very, very flexible and movable. Alright. Let me prepare the next build, and hopefully my camera will record next time.